Welcome to Quality of Life Radio, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Quality of Life show. You heard the big gong, and that's what it's about. Gong. Here we are. We're your hosts, Nancy Reed and Lisa Smith, the mother-daughter travel team and publishers of two digital interactive publications. We have Big Blend Radio and TV Magazine, which is our variety publications, all about quality of life, and Parks and Travel Magazine. You can see them both at BigBlendMagazines.com. And we're excited to have one of our guest experts here. We've got Author-Sarah-Elliston joining us back on the show today. Today, she's going to talk about connecting and connections, the internet versus real connections. Is it good for us? Is it bad for us? How do we balance it all out? Sarah is the author of the book, Lessons from a Difficult Person, How to Deal with People Like Us. Of course, you can get on Amazon, all those great places. But you can also go right to her website, SarahElliston.com. And she's also one of our experts up on BlendRadioandTV.com. Sarah is also a faculty member of the William Glasser Institute. She's a workshop leader and trainer is certified in values realization, which I think was what we're going to talk about today. Parent effectiveness training, and also reality therapy. Yeah, we're going to talk about all of that today. So welcome back, Sarah. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for inviting me back.
Hey, always good chatting with you. And I think we always talk about things that, you know, that just kind of we sometimes brush off. And the internet is definitely this hub of activity. There's social media. We all have all these connectivity parts. But then you go out to dinner. And Nancy, how many times do we see people at dinner texting, right?
It is, you know, it's like reading a book at the dinner table. I was taught that is extremely rude. And if you're at the table and there's other people there, that you engage in conversation and you eat with your mouth closed. but you don't bring a book to the table, and you don't make phone calls during the meal time. You give respect to the people that are around you. And I think the texting thing, other than this is really an emergency, I don't know, I think it's rude.
What I think is ironic is a lot of times people are texting each other.
Yes,
I know, right across the table.
I do not understand that, but
yeah,
I know I'm of a different generation, so.
Yeah, it's weird. We once we were at a dinner party, like a very, very casual dinner party, and one of the young gentlemen and the young girl there were texting each other. And then the way they would look around, it was almost like they're texting each other about the people there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they were. I'm sure that's true.
That's that rude. So where's that connection? So they're connecting, but I think at least they're in the same place. But I love this article, and everyone, if you go to BlendRadioandTV.com, Sarah's article is Connections. We need them, and yet, ... I love the title of this. We need them, but when you look at like Facebook and all the drama, the arguing, are we being more argumentative there because we can and because we're not doing it in person? Do you think? Because it's kind of taking away the reality part when you're virtually online and you're virtual, and we're not really.
I think when it gets to name calling, then you've kind of gone over the edge of connection.
Mm-hmm.
I know that for me, using the internet and even going to Facebook, which I kind of don't even like to do anymore, but I want to connect with the people in my family and friends who still use Facebook. And I'm in a couple of groups that have met together over the years. And so when I go to those pages, I do feel connected because I have visual images of the people that I'm reading about, and sometimes looking at their pictures, and that's yummy. But the what you're talking about is the arguing and the belief that I can say anything I want about people, and that starts to become name calling, and just it's rude in any
It's toxic.
venue, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Yeah, I was just saying no, but it's about that. It's more, you see it more on Facebook versus like if people were meeting in a group. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In person. If it was, two or three people on Facebook in a thread or whatever, to stream, whatever you want to call it, and they were in person, or they just met at a restaurant or coffee shop or something, you probably, even if it was political, wouldn't see them going as crazy as they do online because you're not personally connected. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it either, but we're doing things that we wouldn't normally do in person.
Exactly. And I have my Twitter feed, or whatever you call it, was shut down by Twitter for some reason about 6 months ago, and it's taken me a long time to get back up and on it. But what's nice is I understand it now, so that I can choose what I want to look at, and so I don't have as much going on. It's probably not a good venue for selling my book because I don't have tons of followers. But what I do see are people being incredibly rude about other people, and politicians notwithstanding. But and that's where I think now Twitter, I think, it's pretty tough. It's so quick, it's so immediate, and someone says one thing and then 60 people respond. That's a different. I didn't talk about that in my article because that's a whole another kettle of fish, if you want to use that.
It's an addiction.
Well, it's kind of like, woof, where did all that opinion come from?
Yeah, it's become like a casino machine.
Well,
how many likes do you have? People want the dings. They're changing the notifications, and Instagram's going back and forth on whether or not you're allowed to like things, or you need to comment. Because don't forget too, every time you like something, you're hitting an algorithm. So you're connecting with corporate America. Yes. So they know what to sell you. You see? So there's that.
I haven't figured out Instagram yet.
But the likes and everything, people get addicted to that. So it's now, again, we're talking about it virtual versus reality. This is the same thing. And so it would be nice if somebody really commented. And if they comment, half the time they're doing it so other people see their name, so you would go to their page and look at them. So there's this whole pile of just absolute hogwash going on. To me, go ahead, Nancy.
I was just going to tell you, if somebody likes something, like say you put a photo up and people like it, so you get the little thumbs up, wouldn't you rather the person say, I really like the composition, or you really caught the sunlight that time, and so that you know why they like it, as opposed to here's 200 people gave you a thumbs up and 16 gave you a thumbs down, and you have no idea why.
Right. I know that
it's kind of useless information in a way.
There was a time when I used to say that I never clicked on the heart or the thumbs up or anything when, when I was on Facebook, because I insisted if I was going to make a comment that I would put words in. But it took a long time. And eventually I got tired of it. I think I got too many people or something.
Yeah, because then you end up commenting on everything, and then all of a sudden your day is gone. So that's the other part. There's this way of connecting, and you do get to connect with people you don't know. I've made friends over Facebook, just over like our 1 hour walk group and things like that. And people do comment on photos, they do comment on things, but it's always going to be that 1 to 10% versus the norm. But there is a timing issue. But at the same, so there is connecting, and the groups go with what you were talking about in your article about what William Glasser said. That we really do need to have that connectivity. And I think this group thing we're social animals, really.
Well, yes. Animals. Well, we're more than social animals. I mean, people shrivel up and die without that connection. That's why they have senior citizens get, pets, or people say that person should have a pet, a cat or a dog, or because the people in their lives have all died. And unless they are out actively involved in other activities, it feels funny to go out and look for friends. So you stay at home, and you become it's not much of a quality of life. They're not very happy people, and then everyone says, well, no one wants to talk to her because she's an old grouch. So how did I get on this?
Then get a cat.
Get a cat. Is that what Dr. Glasser says is that we have genetic instructions in our brain that need to be fulfilled, and every behavior we have, everything we do, say, think, feel, all of it is in search of meeting those needs. And the thing where we're different, we all have the same needs, but where we're different is how we think we can meet them. So we all have a need for fun, a need for freedom, a need for a sense of achievement, a need to survive, to keep living, you know. And then he says the essential one is the need for belonging. That when people, if someone is unhappy or not having success in their lives, they end up seeing some kind of a helper in our culture today. And that helper, if they start with where are you in your relationships, they will find that the individual can improve their lives tremendously. And whether it was work that brought them in, or fighting with the next door neighbor or whatever, if they improve their relationship, you know what? Everything improves, because they have a need to connect and belong and feel that people appreciate them. And so the person that I was describing, say the elderly person who should get a pet because nobody likes them because they live by themselves and they're grouchy, which is not true. I mean, they're usually unhappy. But I remember when my parents got to a certain point where all their friends, basically, that they'd grown up with had died.
Right. It's depressing.
So luckily they had a number of friends in the community who were of other generations, who would bring their grandchildren over at Christmas time, and so they weren't old and grouchy and whatever, but they had worked to maintain those connections, to have connections with people who weren't exactly the same as they. And I guess the point of telling you all this, because you asked me about it, is that the connection over the internet. So the connections with my cousin in Santa Fe, that I get to see pictures of her trips or her family, is really nice. And I just don't anticipate going to Santa Fe in the near future. And so I can send her a note and appreciate that she's posted stuff about her family, and I feel connected and I feel warm about her.
Okay.
And I need to go to some kind of social setting like church or synagogue or whatever the appropriate place is, and have real human touching. I mean, remember I feel like I'm doing all the talking here, but there was an experiment. I'm not sure it was an experiment after World War II, where they had so many orphans able to hug them, and they found that many of the children died not because they weren't getting food and water and getting their diapers changed. It was because nobody was holding them.
Right.
Yes.
Haven't needed much.
I think we do need that. I remember reading about that experiment, and it's the same thing as smiling. We've talked about that on shows, where the value of a smile and how it can change things. It stopped war, smile, and it really can. So I think it's important. It's really about value, and so connection should be of value and not just frivolous connection. You know what I mean? There's frivolous. Okay, yeah, I like that photo. Don't have time to comment on it. But if you're doing that all day, you're kind of in an interesting pattern, right? But if you're connecting and it's a family member you don't see every day, but you get to stay connected online, that's awesome. I think it is a really amazing tool for that. That's actually how Facebook was started, was so that people could stay connected in some way. And I think it's great, like using Zoom. We're talking through that. We're recording through Zoom. We can all have our videos. We can see each other, which is even better. So it's about value. And that's what I was saying about value. That to me that's the key, is having value in connections. Whereas at a lot of times, I think that's why people bail from social media, other than the actual, taking our data and all that good stuff, our all of that
Mhm.
stuff, eating our cookies and all of that. But I know. So there's all of that negative stuff, but it does prove a lot of people aren't really quitting because they want to stay connected. And I see there's a thing going on right now with Facebook. People are dropping like flies. I mean, they're really bailing Facebook. And then there's people that come back to it. And yet it proves to me that we do need that connection you're talking about. People
Mm.
need that, but it's about value. And
Well, when you say value, you mean meaning. There's meaning
yeah,
to it, rather that
not dollars or whatever. I'm talking about actual, yeah, you get some sort of feeling from it.
Do you think that maybe the difference could be like in the older days and the bygone days, you would have family gatherings, you could write letters to each other,
yeah.
and you'd send photographs and try to meet once or twice a year or even more, depending on where everybody lived, and the holidays were a big deal. Now
Yeah.
we're where it's almost constant. And I think that the idea that it's instant and constant are the factors that make sometimes it a negative rather than a positive.
Well, we take it for granted, so that, if I
Mm-hmm.
can't get home for Christmas, but I can come home other times because we have, instant travel, so to speak, and it's not that hard, and so I'm going to stay at my job or
Mm-hmm.
at whatever it is, school, or because I have all these crises and I have to take care of them, and because I can get there, and then you turn around and realize you haven't visited with those people for 5 years,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the relationship has less value, less meaning, because you haven't physically reached out and touched or emotionally reached out and touched. And it's interesting because Facebook, I thought, started as a way to get to know other college students at
Mm-hmm.
Harvard. So
Yeah.
I don't, but I joined it in order to find out what the people in my family were doing. And I have members of my family who won't play. They won't go on Facebook to tell me what they're doing. So yes, we have to write letters to each other or make phone calls. And actually making the phone call is not as easy as writing a letter for me, because with some of my family members, we don't always agree on everything,
Mm.
and so I think, well, do I really want to call her and then listen to her say a lot of stuff that I disagree with, or should I write her a letter and say I was thinking about you and remembering this and about our childhood or our family or whatever? And so I write the letter now.
It's
And
safer.
Yeah, when you're in
yes.
that situation, I don't even do that when.
Well, but I think I'm not alone. I
Mm.
No,
think a
no,
lot of the
not at
reason
all.
that people do the Facebook thing or send a quick email or a text is because then there's less risk of hearing somebody who disagrees with you, or setting them off. Books about
Mm-hmm.
working with difficult people, and the essence of even starting to think about, do I want to connect with this person, is how important is it? How
Mm.
important is this person in my life? And I think we let people become less important because, they're sort of trouble, and I can always send them an email or whatever. I don't know.
Mm.
It's
Maybe.
interesting, like even like we've gone back to caveman days with emojis instead of using real words. we're, we're denigrating into cave people.
Yep. I tell some friends, I was like, I really want Y2K to happen, because
Oh
then I
boy.
can go in and, Rosetta Stone. I mean, you just go carve your emojis in there, go back to those days. But I think, but the reality is the connectivity that we have is absolutely amazing. We can, for us, like, I look at it going from, connecting w- as a media, as magazines and radio and all of that we do. It is about connecting with
Mm-hmm.
an audience and going, hey, this is something cool, we hope you enjoy it or get
Hmm.
inspired, or that kind of thing, and inform, because we're tattletales, we got big mouths, we see something cool, we want everybody to know,
Right.
that's who we are. But it is about caring. And now that, I mean, going from print to where you had writers, I mean, people write into the magazine, like actual letters to the editor.
Yes.
And they used to send recipes for cocktail contests we had and all kinds of things. And now it's different. And then it got to, if it was something politically that we were doing on a show, they didn't like it. Well, boy, did we get nailed. But now it's evened it out. You know, they know, okay, whatever. We're only nice here, you know. But now here we are able to connect with musicians and travel people around the world on radio shows, having that connectivity, whereas that connectivity wouldn't have happened. So I think we're in a very interesting place in the world of, you know, connecting. We can connect with people around the world, across the street, all by like a little chip. At the end of the day, it's a little computer chip and a satellite thing up in the sky. It can make all this happen. And I think it's cool, but it is about that. Is it positive? Is it nourishing? Does it nurture your soul? Does it inspire
There you
you?
go. Yes.
You know,
And is it balanced?
Yeah.
You know, you have
That's
to be
why
balanced.
you're talking about value is do you is what you're doing in the relationship of value. And of course the values clarification people their basic question is, how important to you is it that you're, whatever it is, whatever the question is, so how important to you is it that you speak to or hug your family member, your parent, your child, and how important is it to you that you get to do what you want to do? And the best one, the one that I always share on this issue, because I'm always telling my own stories, is that my son went to college in New York City and then stayed in New York and then got jobs in New York. And I really have been to New York and not enjoyed it. And so I would wait for him to come back to Ohio to visit with him. And finally, he said to me once, he'd been, coming back and forth, but he'd been away from home for 5 or 6 years. He said, Mom, your dislike of New York being more important to you than coming to see me really hurts my feelings.
Wow.
Oh, ouch.
Well,
Wow.
I got on a plane and I went to New York and I spent 3 or 4 days with him. And he's never asked me to come back because, I had a good time. We had fun, but I really don't like pushing my way through all those people and riding the subways and a lot of the things that you have to do in New York. But I heard him loud and clear. And now he is actually able to come home more often, so I get to see him every couple of months anyway. But I thought it was that's what you call a values question. How important to you is it that you're meeting your deadlines at work, but not maybe not connecting to people in your life?
It is, we get in trouble, Nancy and I, because we're like the introverted extroverts, where when we get in production mode, and we're always in production, we're always working, even if we're traveling and doing all this stuff, it's all connected to what we do. And when we're staying, like when we lived in Tucson, we had friends who would get mad because we wouldn't go out to dinner all the time or go here or go there. We would go like maybe to their house and chill out that way, or say, oh, come on over. But because we're so, like, we're talking to people on shows all the time, we get in that zone of we can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, and it does actually, and it's not that we don't like them. It's none of that. It just gets to a point of, you also have to do what's good for yourself. If there's a point. And so we'd always have that thing, like if we're out, then we'll go see friends, we'll go do that. But if we're in that, I don't know how to explain it. But
if we're in, we're in. If we're out, we're out.
Yeah, because it's maybe just so our makeup, it is, to us, what we do is very much what we love. It doesn't mean that we don't love our friends, but that friends would get mad at us, and we're like, it just is what it is. I mean,
it's not just your job.
No.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you're going through a national park, you're looking for things to take pictures of or to describe or see the relevance of it or to enjoy the beauty. I mean, that's part of who you are.
Right. Yeah. So you find that balance of, and that's the key. You just said it too, I think. is knowing who you are so that you know what brings you happiness, joy, fulfillment, all of those things. And so that's what connecting is with other individuals. It's, I think you can get connective burnout, from dealing with so many people. There's, especially back in the day, I used to go see people all the time with the magazine and deliver magazines. And I would get literally to a point where I can't talk to anybody. I'm just burned out on people, and it's not their problem. I burn out on it. Nancy knows, because I get crabby. I'm a crabby. I get crabby, and I just like, leave me alone. I'm going to my room for a day, and I'll come back out and I'll be fine and talkative again. But after that, you just burn out. And I've had to learn that over the years, that it's not them, it's me.
I think this is maybe one of the issues for celebrities or actors and actresses and people that have paparazzi running around behind them. They're not allowed. It's pretty hard for them to have a quote normal life, because somebody wants to know what they're thinking and why they're thinking it and what they're wearing and what it looks like and where did they buy it and who designed it, and you know what, who cares? But that's my opinion.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
No, it's got to be really annoying.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Trying to go somewhere and you can't go. I mean, you're having a bad hair day and everybody gets to know and people take photos, and it's got to really,
that's
really
got to suck.
So that's kind of a strange connection. And I'm thinking about it in terms of connecting, because well, I like to look at pictures of my favorite movie stars. Every now and then and then I realize I'm sitting here scrolling from picture to picture of different people on holidays, for example, or at an event where the pictures were taken of, and I think, what on earth are you doing? How is this bringing value to your life? There's some of the actors, for me, and this is probably not appropriate, just I don't know, but one of the things I find myself doing is checking to see who's in a movie, because there's some people I like to look at. Some people I like to watch. Some people I find.
Nancy finds Chris Christopherson the ultimate.
Yeah.
There you go. The guys that I'm attracted to seem to be much younger. I mean, they probably could be my children.
She's after toy boys, everybody.
I just enjoy watching them. I just think they're interesting people. I mean, if they live next door, I'd want to get to know them. That's sort of.
Yeah, there's people that I think you use visual connections. Remember it was one of the very first times you were on the show, we were talking about, I think actually it was the very first one, you talked about how we have instant dislikes to people.
Yes.
And I remember talking, I think it was a neighbor, and you're like, you're going to know someone that looks or acts like that person, and you're going to dislike this other person because of that baggage from the other person. Right. But you know what? They do turn out to be the same at the end of the day. That guy did. That guy did turn out to be. Well, he was horrible. And he looked just like the person we knew that was really horrible. And I mean, a really terrible person. And he turned out to be a terrible person. We even, had to call the cops on him because of him screaming at his wife. And we could hear him, our neighbor. I mean, that's terrible when you can hear him with your doors closed. And so we had to call the cops. And so I think that's a terrible thing, just saying. And but it turned out to be a very similar person. And I think that's an interesting thing where we have that instant dislike, but and there's that connectivity to that, or like repulsion. But we have the same thing with, movie stars or singers or whatever it is, that you automatically look. I mean, Facebook has groups for, like, all the musicians I know have their own groups. Of their fans, and they all talk about each other, but a lot of them are doing well, have groups that are with some kind of themed message, like Lucas Nelson and the Promise of the Real. It's all about going out and growing a garden and what positive stuff you're doing. Michael Franti, what are you doing that's positive today? It's all about happiness and positivity. So a lot of musicians are going more in that road, and so they have groups over it, and people have that connectivity. They've seen him in concert and they want to follow everything.
Yes. Well, that's different. I think those are very healthy connections. But we were talking about
you just think some people are cute.
You brought it. You mentioned that there are times when you have too many people and you have to sort of go off and be by yourself. And as a teacher and a workshop leader, I can tell you that there that I would come to a place where I was peopled out, is the way I used to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially when I worked for a church, and I loved everybody there, and I enjoyed the job a lot. I did it for 9 years, but it's still, I got to a point where I would come home and someone would say, let's go out. I'd say, I'm peopled out. I can't do people right now. I just have to get off in a corner with my thumb in my mouth and, read a book or something and
Yeah.
just cool it. So we need space and time as much as we need connections. Yes.
Agreed. There's that. It's about knowing yourself, having that. Yeah, I learned that. Nancy would go, you're getting crabby. It's time for you to go to your room.
Yeah.
And it's true. You're really right about the book, man. There's nothing
Mhm.
like, even you back in the day, I remember when we worked in malls with teaching musical instruments and everything. So you talk about getting peopled out.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'd end up on those days where, and I was
Mm.
talking about this with a friend recently. Remember the days where you would have like this couch day where you just sit and watch movies all day and eat popcorn
Mm-hmm.
and just stay, like pajama days. I don't remember having one of those for years, but I think we need those days so that you can disconnect and then reconnect. We have to unplug to be plugged in, I think.
Very good. Yes, I agree with you.
Mhm.
I think that's very true.
Now I
I had a
want
thought. Oh,
popcorn.
I'm sorry. No,
Now I want
but
popcorn.
I know, me too. I was going to say something that you said. That I was thinking the issue for most of us. I mean, maybe this is too general, but for most of us in our lives, if we have an issue, it's because we aren't clear about how we feel or what's really
Mm.
more important. And I think that was always the pull for me with values clarification, is just saying to myself, how how what's more important to me here? Like
Mm.
in one of the other articles, I think I talked about, I did a planning board. I think we might have called it something different in the article, but
Mm-hmm.
um, where you kind of laid out all your choices and then you put them in an order.
The choice ladder.
Yeah, that put them in the order that you think is the most important. When you do that with another person or two, and knowing that you're really hoping for consensus, often what's really startling is that the top 3 or 4 of them are the same, but we've been arguing about all the other 5 or 6 or 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if we essentially know that, okay, like when this example I used was for a trip that we took, and I knew I had to walk around the Tower of London because it was really important to one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't important to me, and it wasn't important to my feet, but it was important to my husband or my son, I've forgotten who. But then, we went to a particular university because it was something that was really important to my husband, because his family members had all gone there, and da 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 da, whatever the reasons were. But we understood it because we had talked about it, because we had clarified it, because we had spent some time trying to figure out what's really important. I think the idea of taking a day to cool out is healthy, and I don't do it for a complete day anymore. I just don't have days that much for
Yeah.
but I take parts of days.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I see a 2-hour block and I think, well, I probably should go and do X, but I'm going to, sit on the deck and take a little nap and, cool out for a little before I jump into whatever is next.
I think that's why women, especially older women, like I think back to my mother and my grandmother, they had those, I'm going to go get my hair done. Like, and I'm like, in other words, you're really sick and tired of everybody right now.
Yeah.
And then you
Moms.
go get your hair done.
Oh, yeah.
Moms have it. Moms, they go in. It's like that's why the bathroom is
Right.
like the mom's palace. Leave me alone. I'm taking a bubble bath. I'm having my glass of wine. I'm listening to whatever music, and or they'll sit and put their head in magazines just to page through. I have a friend. She reads magazines because she likes looking at the ads, and I'm like, what? No, that's what I want to sit and do. And so it's okay. Everybody's got their thing, and you do need to take that escape time, and then I think you And once you've done that, then it's like detoxing your body and then going back into finding out what food is disagreeing with you by, you have to eliminate to start to know what your value, what is good for you. So when you
Yes.
disconnect, you can go back in, you can go back on Facebook. A lot of people stopped Facebook. I have friends, one who is just really active politically, and I have quite a few of them that are like that. And then he just turned around, and I mean, he's awesome. This guy is awesome. He's worked in nonprofits, and I mean, he's just one of those who really is about saving the planet. He's awesome. And of all people said, and he's big on social media, blah blah, said, I need to stop. This isn't healthy for me anymore. And he stopped. He went on vacation with his wife, and he said, I'm just going to unplug it from my phone. I'm not deactivating because I want to stay connected, but I need to take a break. And if you need to reach me, message me and make sure you have my phone number, my email, and we can call. Because remember when we used to call each other to say hi, have phone conversations? There's things going around Facebook. Hey, have you called your mother today? So he did that, and he came back on Facebook the other day, and he's like, dudes, I just couldn't come back. It's like once I realized how enriching my life was without it, I'm still here. But I'm going to remind everyone, this is how you reach me. I'm here just to stay connected with you all. But I'm finding that life on the other side I get more done. I have real conversations, and real action is being made. And so I think there's that balance. And so he pops in once in a while. And I think it's good to take a break, detox your connectivity, and then you can reconnect and be balanced about it.
It's not so much detoxing your connectivity, because it's detoxing from the constant barrage of
Notifications.
information. Because I think at some point, and your friend is very wise, and I've had other friends of mine who've done the same thing. Most of them have not come back, but the when the connection stops meaning something, when it's just, let me get through these, because of course the other thing about Facebook is that you never through them. It's like Twitter, it never stops. So you have to put your own limits on, and the next thing you know, you've been sitting at the computer for an hour and a half and missed your bedtime or whatever you were planning to do.
Well, a lot of people are creating their own, like we are creating our own network of people, groups and stuff away from it, because it is changing. I mean, it's, musicians, you have to be on Facebook and Twitter. It's how many likes you have and how many followers you have before you get booked to perform.
Right.
And it's like that in the tourism world. We go through it. How many Facebook followers do you have before we'll advertise? It's ridiculous, because it's like, wait, this is the big picture here. And so this whole thing of everyone, bailing Facebook, I think it's great. I'm just going to say it, because it's, to me, let's get down to the substance. I have a friend who quit, just deleted everything. I'm done. And people thought that he emailed me, and he was like, I went to this event, and he was a teacher, retired teacher. And he goes, my students thought I was sick or had dementia or died of cancer, something. He goes, this is unreal, just because he quit Facebook and they couldn't find him there. And we email each other, we talk, we have better conversations through email than we do on Facebook. So everybody's different. Some friends I talk a lot on there, we message each other almost on a daily basis. So everybody's different, but I don't do that with everyone. I've, like Steve, our Hollywood historian, we talk all the time. And if he's not there, I wonder, oh, are you okay? Same with us, so it's kind of it's a value. So what a good conversation. You never know where these conversations are going to go. And we go everywhere. But I think everybody, here's the deal. Let's all have a day off, go get popcorn and watch a good movie, read a book, have a glass of wine or coffee, tea, whatever it is, and be happy with each other.
Don't forget to curl up and suck your thumb.
Yes. Yeah, really. Yeah. Everyone, again, Sarah's book, again, it's Sarah H. Elliston. It's Lessons from a Difficult Person, How to Deal with People Like Us. Again, it's on Amazon, all those great places, but go to Sarah's website. She's got a great blog there too, SarahElliston.com. Her articles, including this one about connectivity, being connected, is up on blendradioandtv.com and also in Big Blend Radio and TV magazine. And I want to remind everyone you can keep up with us on our shows now air. We broadcast Sunday through Friday. So 6 shows a day, and the list goes up on bigblendradio.com, and we have multiple outlets from iTunes to TuneIn to YouTube to Spreaker to Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're all over the place, so you'll find us in your favorite outlet. And again, bigblendradio.com is the place to go. And we always like to play music for Sarah. And Sarah, I think I may have played this song for you, or at least I know E.G. Vines is based in Nashville. Awesome singer-songwriter. You can go to his website, egvines.com, but I thought this is really appropriate. The song is called Conversation. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Everyone, you take care. Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome. See ya.
Please, brother, turn the channel. I can't take another bomb, another place. And what are they fighting for? All these things that time has never changed. I hope we peel our pride away, 'cause there's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along. There's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along, and we pass it along. I see my lover crying, but I just turn my head and stand a million miles away. I'm not sure just what I'm after, but I don't think I'll find it if I stay. Another oath of love we break, 'cause there's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along. 'Cause there's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along. There's no conversation, all this separation that we're passing along, and we pass it along. So come sit right here beside me. I wanna hear about your hopes and feel your pain. How can we break this cycle? All the years and years we've lived this way. I think we found the starting place, 'cause only conversation